So for all of you who have been following my composting on Facebook, I'm also probably going to put this on my YouTube channel. This is me starting to collect my hoard. Right now, there's leaves starting to fall all around me. And I'm seeing people put the leaves, the bagged leaves, out on the street for the city to come by and collect up. When they do this, I just stop by their house and ask them. I probably could just take them, they wouldn't care, but I feel better just going up and asking them. That way they know, hey, that's where they're going. But that's the best way to collect leaves for your compost. Last year I had close to 36, maybe 40 bags, and I ran out of leaves in the middle of August, if I remember correctly. I think I had a post on it. But this is the starting of how I can make 3 cubic yards of compost every 6 to 8 months. And I just barely got my next batch starting to go. I will be using some of the compost this fall, because you want to make sure you put compost down in the winter, well, in the fall for the winter. Putting it on top of your beds without tilling it in is what you want to do. The whole point of that is it's going to insulate the ground to keep it from freezing nice and solid, so you can actually start planting earlier. The other thing that does is, as the water goes down through the compost, it leaches all the nutrients down into the garden bed, so your plants have that nutrients ready available for them. I recommend you put 2 applications of compost, about a ½ inch on all the beds that you want to grow on in the winter, and then a ½ inch in the spring. And if you till, you'd want to till that first layer in, then put compost on top of it. If you're doing no-till gardening, you just throw that compost right out on top of it. We do no-till in our small beds, but just wanted to put this post out and say, if you're planning on composting this year, start hoarding the leaves now. I use about 1 bag of leaves every week in my compost, adding water and other stuff with it. Once again, I'm at it with my leaf hoarding for this fall. I got these 2 right here, and I can't remember how many I fit back there. 3 it should be, because I think I have 3 in the trunk, because I picked up a total of 8 bags. But that's just the start of getting the leaves for my compost. This is what I do to be able to make such rich soil for my garden, and everybody should be doing it. It really helps out and gives you the things that you need to make sure that you are creating the best soil that you can for your garden. 8 bags. I think I have 9 at home now. So this would be a total of 17, if I remember correctly. I'm out here today at my in-laws. This has kind of been my garden here that my father-in-law has said I could have. They've been pouring ashes from their fire, kind of at my request, to get this charcoaly stuff into here for biochar, into the garden. My big goal with this garden is to help it become one of our self-sustaining gardens for my family, particularly my wife and I, and part of my in-laws. But the goal for this is to get this to produce enough summer squash, pumpkins, winter squash, that we can feed chickens all winter long with minimal feed bought from what is it called? From IFA, or from any of your feed stores. Here in Utah, it's IFA, Intermountain Farmers. But the big thing that I'm doing today, even though it's the fall, I want to get this garden ready so come next spring we're good to go. I'm dumping this load of compost. Now, I have said some bad things about using dump compost or municipal waste compost, but they were selling it for $10 a yard. You cannot find that price for compost anywhere that's a good. I mean, this is going to have a lot more wood in it, as you can already tell. It has some debris and trash like I've talked about. That happens simply because people don't follow the rules for the green waste bins, or as they rake their leaves it gets mixed in. I still get some plastic trash in with my compost, and to be quite honest, it's not a huge deal. I wish it wouldn't happen, but it happens. We'll have to clean it out as we see it. The big thing that I see is it's pretty rich and dark. It's still warm, so that means it's still, even in here, it's still going, which is also something that I've been told that you don't see that much in municipal compost. It's usually not warm when you pick it up. But I mean, this stuff is warm. That means it's been cooking. It's got everything to keep on cooking. The other thing that I'm okay with it on is it is going to be a blend of more than 5 ingredients. I'm not sure if it's no more than 20% of each. But the big point of no more than 20% each is it just makes it easier at home when you're at home composting, because you don't get the smell. It continues to heat up. Yeah, there's a piece of debris right there, some type of plastic. But I'm gonna be throwing this one all out in here. I would wish I could put 2 inches of just pure compost on top of all this. But the big reason for getting it in here now, rather than wait until the spring, I'd love to come out and throw some more on top of the spring, is with all this charcoal and ash that got thrown in here this summer, I want to inoculate it with this compost. So hopefully the everything in there, the compost needs to, that the plants need, gets into the charcoal, and the charcoal will then be able to hold on to that nutrients and slowly leach it out in the ground as it's needed. I also hope that this really makes the ground very, very good. I eventually want to turn this into a no-till garden, but it's kind of hard when I don't live close enough to them to do the upkeep on it. I also want to get in some leachers before I do that. But that's just an update on my gardening and kind of showing off this compost. I really like it. This is the finished product for today. So this is the garden that I was saying I'm going to put a lot of compost in. I'm not going to till this in now. I'm actually just going to let it soak like this over the winter. Leaves might get scattered onto it. I might put some straw down. The big part is just letting this now get rain on it and going down and connecting with the charcoal and other things that I have on it. I wish I could have got one more cubic yard, because this whole thing would have been super thick. But I'm hoping to plant this in next spring with squash, and then trellising the squash like we did this year with the pumpkins, to the point that all we have are that this would be sustainable for our chickens. That is the goal. The other thing that we're going to do, hopefully starting next year, is I'm going to bring in a small electric fence that will wrap this area and put a house on one of the ends for the chickens to go into, or maybe just into it. And we will do broilers back here for meat chickens. It's just one of our goals to start becoming yeah, buddy, we can feed those to chickies, to becoming more self-sustainable. I'm back here at my in-laws. It's snowing a little bit today because it's in the November, so it's been almost a month since I put down the compost, and I just gathered up a whole truckload of leaves. You can see I used the tarp to put in as many as I can, and now I'm just mulching it in as thick as I can with the leaves. This will give us a great cover. This will be an awesome garden plot come next year, and I'm really excited for it. So now I'm going to be fairly thick. I might come out later on and rake it a little bit smoother, but my goal is to get as many leaves on this thing as I can. So that's 16 bags of leaves over the top of at least 2 yards of compost in this small garden here. I'd like to get it filled all the way out to the end, but I don't think that's going to happen. Kind of see what happens as my in-laws throw more leaves on the back, but this garden's looking good. I kind of wish I would have finished pulling those vines down. It's not a huge deal, but this is going to be really my first real attempt at a permaculture garden, done with this style of leaves over the top of, or thick mulch, I should say. Leaves being what I'm using for my mulch, over the top of a thick layer of compost. It'd be awesome if I could get my hands on some moldy straw, throw down. I'm not willing to pay for moldy straw yet, but anyway, thanks for watching.